One of the most popular and influential guitarists to emerge from the 1980s heavy metal scene, George Lynch helped propel Dokken toward top of the charts and later launched a solo career with the long-running Lynch Mob. With his arsenal of stylish guitars and virtuosic solos, Lynch has been at the forefront of the hard rock scene for over 4 decades, releasing dozens of albums with each of his flagship groups while issuing a slew of collaborative and solo efforts, including the dynamic all-instrumental affair Seamless in 2021 and Guitars at the End of the World this year, 2023. Born in Spokane, Washington on September 28, 1954, Lynch was raised in Sacramento, California, where he took up the guitar as a teenager. Influenced by the likes of Jimi Hendrix, Leslie West, Jeff Beck, and Alan Holdsworth, Lynch played the LA club circuit throughout the 70s, including gigs with such forgotten acts such as Sergeant Rocks, Exciter, and The Boys. It was as a member of the latter band that Lynch met drummer Mick Brown and singer Don Dokken, which led to the formation of Dokken by the early 80s. With a sound akin to a more melodic Van Halen and their lyrics often dealing with the subject of heartbreak, Dokken issued their debut recording, Breaking the Chains, in 1982, first through the European label Carrere, and then through Elektra after they signed the group and reissued the album in the US. Although Rat bassist Juan Crucier played on the album, newcomer Jeff Pilson became a permanent member soon after. 2 back-to-back gold-certified albums followed, 1984's Tooth and Nail and 1985's Under Lock and Key. Dokken became one of hard rock's most promising young bands. It was also during this time that Lynch began receiving recognition for his 6-string skills. With Randy Rhoads deceased and Eddie Van Halen focusing more on songwriting than shredding, guitar slingers were looking for a new hero by the mid-80s, and Lynch fit the bill. As he received countless accolades and appearances at the top of polls and guitar magazines, Lynch also became known for his interesting-looking instruments, especially one carved into the shape of a mangled skeleton. A long and fruitful relationship with the ESP Guitar Company also began around this time. But with major breakthrough success beckoning, Dokken seemed to come apart at the seams. It was no secret that Lynch and Dokken never saw eye to eye. Their shaky relationship only worsened during the tour in support of 1987's platinum hit Back for the Attack, an album which included Lynch guitar showcase Mr. Scary. Even a slot on the 1988's much-hyped Monsters of Rock US tour, which also included Van Halen, the Scorpions, and Metallica, couldn't save the sinking Dokken ship, as the group announced their split shortly after the tour's completion. After an obligatory live album, Beast from the East, was issued, Lynch opted to form a new outfit, the Lynch Mob. Joining Lynch were singer Oni Logan, bassist Anthony Esposito, and former Dokken drummer Jones, who issued their debut Wicked Sensation in 1990. While the album performed respectively on the charts, the group's sound was almost a carbon copy of Dokken's and failed to break the group commercially. Throughout the early 90s, Lynch issued another release under the Lynch Mob name, 1992's self-titled sophomore effort, and as a solo artist, 1993's Sacred Groove, the latter of which Lynch originally planned on inviting such singers as Phil Anselmo and Chris Cornell to guest on, but wound up settling on Matthew and Gunnar Nelson, among some others. With both Lynch and Dokken's separate careers not what they once were, the singer and the guitarist settled their differences at the behest of the record company as the Lynch, Dokken, Brown, Pilson lineup of Dokken reunited in 1994. An unplugged album followed a year later, one live night, but old habits were hard to break as Dokken and Lynch butted heads once again, trying to settle on a musical direction on such subsequent studio albums as 1995's Dysfunctional and 1997's Shadow Life. Both albums failed to return Dokken to the top of the charts, and George left the group once more shortly thereafter. The late 90s and early 21st century saw Lynch alternate between issuing albums with the Lynch Mob with varying members and as a solo artist, resulting in such further titles as Smoke This, We'll Play for Food, Wicked Underground, the latter of which saw Lynch reunite with ex-Dokken bassist Pilson, Furious George, Scorpion Tales, and 2010's Orchestral Mayhem. In 2014, Lynch teamed up with Korn drummer Ray Luzier and King's ex-bassist vocalist Doug Pinnick for the project KXM, and to release an eponymous album. That same year marked the arrival of the Lynch Mob EP Sun Red Sun. And in 2015, he partnered with Stryper frontman Michael Sweet for Only the Rise, the debut studio outing from the aptly named Sweet and Lynch. Rebel, also released in 2015, marked Lynch Mob's 7th full-length outing. A busy 2017 found KXM issuing their sophomore long player Scatterbrain and Lynch Mob unreleased album number 8, The Brotherhood, while Sweet and Lynch let loose their second studio album, Unify. In 2019, Lynch formed The End Machine, a Dokken heavy supergroup that also featured Jeff Pilson, Mick Brown, and vocalist Robert Mason. KXM issued their third album, Circle of Dolls, later that year. 2020 saw Lynch and Pilson release Heavy Hitters, a collection of covers that turned pop songs by the likes of One Direction, Duran Duran, and Prince into heavy metal anthems. The following year saw Lynch issue his first instrumental record, Seamless, which featured drummer Jimmy D'Anda and bassist Eric Loiseau. On his sophomore instrumental effort, 2023's Driving and Inventive Guitars at the End of the World, Lynch teamed up with drummer Kurt Pescara and bassist Tony Franklin. In addition to releasing albums and touring, Lynch has been known to perform at guitar clinics and instrument expos, especially NAMM, and has developed his own signature guitar series with ESP and a high nickel content string through Dean Markley. To see shows and dates near you, check out his official website. To see his gear, please visit equipboard.com. And thanks to all of you for watching.